My next guest will fight on Contender Series August the 18th when she meets Cheyanne Buys. And of course, it is Hilarie Rose. How are you, Hilarie?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm really good. And, you have a lot of supporters here in the New England area. When this was announced, I know your social media blew up. Tell me, how did you react to this when you found out? What were your emotions like?
Um, I was overwhelmed. I definitely cried, like just of excitement. And everybody who's a fighter, wants to get that UFC opportunity. So I've actually known since like end of February, early March. So I've known for a really long time and have had to like keep it in and not share. And there were some people who knew and some people who didn't. So when I could officially share and announce, it was so exciting. I was anticipating that day. I was waiting when we went to Vegas to do like some media stuff. I'm like, when can I like talk about this? Like, can I talk about it soon? Like, can I tell my friends? And they're like, almost. Wait till your name's out there. And I was like, okay.
Well, it took them a little while to actually announce who the opponent was. I mean, that must have been driving you nuts. Did you know previously, or did you find out yesterday like the rest of us?
No, I've known all the way since March. So I was originally supposed to fight July 7th for
Mhm.
Contender, but because of COVID, they pushed everything back. So my coaches and I had been training for July 7th since we found out in March before all the COVID craziness happened. So when they pushed it back, extra time is good time. So I've known since like March that I was fighting Cheyanne. So yeah.
That's great. And so you're 4-1 now as a professional. I
Yeah.
believe you were 5-3 as an amateur. Tell me, as far as the growth of you as a mixed martial artist, like, is there a point in your career where you felt like you really kind of turned a corner and really just started to develop as a fighter?
I think that it was definitely my pro debut loss. Losing, fighting a very tough chick, and just not having my mental state correct, and like knowing that I was lacking in maybe some strength areas and things like that. So I think losing that pro debut really like set a fire under my ass, and my goal is to make it to the UFC and eventually become a champion and be in the top 10. So I think losing really lit that fire, and I was dedicated and wanted to absorb and learn. And I'm also a coach to like young kids, so I think being able to mentor them and show them that loss is okay and you can come back and you can be strong, that was a big thing too. So I had all of them kind of like pushing me and driving me to want to be better also. So yeah, I think just that loss and knowing that I needed to maybe slow things down. I think a lot of when people start training, everything is fast and power and you want to have that right away, but sometimes you just got to like slow down and take it to like 10% and move and see the openings. And I think that that was something that I really focused on, and I really focused on my grappling. I got my brown belt at the end of last year, so I think just kind of adding everything to my game and knowing that I couldn't just be good at one thing. I had to be good at everything.
Right. And tell me, what has training been like during this pandemic? As everyone knows, you're at USMMA, you
Yeah.
cross Lauzon's, and you're under Mike Perry at Skill of Strength. And I've heard a
Yes.
lot of things about him, so I wanted to touch upon that as well. But just tell me collectively, what has it been like for you to get your work in during these weird times?
So lucky for me, I've been training at USMMA since I was 14 years old. So I've grown up there. Um, I've had the same coaches since the very start, and there's apartments there, so I live there, and I'm an instructor there. So I had that advantage of being able to use the gym and have a small core group of people that would come in. And like I said, I thought I was fighting July 7th, so we were still training hardcore, small groups of like 5, not even smaller. So I had that advantage of living there and being able to be there and have my coaches who I've spent every day with, like regardless, like since I was like 14, I've been there every single day, basically. So I had that group that I could work with and be around. So I think I had that advantage, but it was definitely, those mental up and downs. I wasn't getting different bodies like it Lauzon's that I was getting every other Saturday or every Saturday. So, when you start training with the people you're training with all the time, they start to pick up on the things you like to do. So, I mean, you get comfortable, they get comfortable. But I mean, I have an amazing group of people that I train with, and I've just been very lucky that they would dedicate their time and make their group smaller to protect me and my coaches. So it was great, even
Yeah.
though I definitely had some mental humps and days when I was like, shit, like I'm doing the same thing all the time. I need a little bit of different in my life, but it all works out in the end.
I did see a picture. I'm not sure if it was on Facebook or Instagram of you and a bunch of your teammates working outside in like a parking lot or whatnot. Is that something that you were doing a lot more of, just getting work outside, like in the fresh air?
Yes and no. I was definitely spending way more time outside because all classes like at USMMA are all outside. We're not moved inside yet. So I was definitely still outside, but I was able to be inside. So I spent most of my training inside, on the bags, training with my coaches, hitting pads. So, I'm lucky that I have that and have the opportunity and the relationships that I have with my coaches that, they're dedicated and they're giving 100% like I'm giving 100%.
Who have been those core group of training partners that you said you've been getting your work in with?
So I've been with my coach Tom Hafers and Matt Martin. They're my head coaches, and then Ashley Barrett. She's a young up and comer amateur. She fights at 115, 105. She's very skilled and tough, and she's obviously growing and learning about the sport. But she's a perfect size body for me. She's tough, and as she's learning, I'm learning. Nick Isofano, he's one of my corners that's usually in all of my fights. So he fought at the pro level also. He just doesn't fight anymore. And he was a 25 or 35er. So he's small, close to my size, but will give me maybe like the pressure that Ashley might not give me because he's, a man. And then I had Maddie Grimaldi. She is a Thai like kickboxer chick who I met down at Lauzon's, who's really quick, fast feet, always combinations, ending with kicks. So she was giving me like high pressure. So she has been, amazing to have along as well. So that's been really my core group. And Shane Doherty, I can't take it away from him. I mean, he's 160, but he's at every practice. He is the guy in the back who's like, let's fucking go. Da, 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 da. So he brings all the good vibes, regardless of whether he's training with me or he's just there to, bring the good vibes. He's been there top notch every day too. So I've had a good, real small crew. But I mean, they're helping me drastically.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think you're good friends with Chelsea Tucker. Do you ever get
Yeah.
to see you working with her?
I didn't because she's up in Maine and she's in the Coast Guard, so she was kind of limited to being able to come down and me being able to go up there. She did get down one day and moved around and trained with us like a few weeks ago. But I think it was more like we more had fun. It wasn't like anything crazy or fight specific. So no, but I miss her. I'm looking forward to when we can all be back together.
Yeah, and me too. As far as just getting out and being around the people that you care about, like for
Yeah.
me as well. And as during this pandemic, tell me like what have been some of the things that you've done outside of just your training and the things that you're doing day to day. Like, have you gotten into any Netflix series or any
Yeah,
movies?
yeah.
You have another hobby? Just tell me something about yourself outside of this.
My biggest thing was I mean I live in an apartment. I don't have a lot of space, but I have like a porch type thing. So mine was gardening. So my dad had a garden his whole like life growing up, and he's become a little more fragile now and he can't plant and do it all. So I had him, come over. We planted a few plants. I became obsessed. I bought like 50 plants and I just have them and they've been growing, and it's been my like kind of quarantine go-to. I like sit outside, I talk to the plants, I read my book. So it's kind of like my mental drop from always being so like, I gotta fight, I gotta focus on the fight. It's I go out there, I sit and I eat what I grew. It feels good. So that's probably been my like quarantine like relaxation hobby.
What part of Massachusetts are you in?
So I currently live in Bellingham, Massachusetts. So it's like near like Franklin, or I mean I don't know if you really know Franklin. It's kind of like a little small town, so nothing crazy. Little suburban town.
Right. I mean, I'm all the way up in Maine.
Yeah, right. So I figure you probably don't know.
I have family. I got family in Boston and Quincy and
Yeah, okay.
places. But what is like the vibe when you go out into the community there? Like, is everyone wearing masks? Are they friendly? Are they kind of
Yeah,
scared?
yeah.
6 feet of you?
People definitely are wearing masks. I mean, most people are wearing masks. You see those few people who aren't in there. It's the thing is, I don't care. Like, I'm not a favor of the mask. I don't want to wear it, but I know that I have to wear it. Like, so I'm gonna wear it. I'm gonna do it. But as far as I know, everybody in the area that I'm at has been pretty good. We have a low, like COVID, um, whatnot. I think we go down like each week. I think Massachusetts has been really good, and they've been like going down more and more each week. So but yeah, it hasn't been crazy. It's more just weird because it's less people on the road and like it's strange. I want to go out to eat and like it feel normal.
Tell me about it. Now, the big night is almost 2 weeks away now.
Yes.
You're going to be flying to Vegas. Who's going to be making the trip with you?
So my coach Matt will fly down with me. I believe we leave on like a Saturday or a Friday, and then my coach Tom will come the following day because we all have to get COVID tested and then quarantine, make sure we're all okay, and then then it's weigh-ins and fight night.
Right. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think you don't like flying. Did I see that? You struggle with that?
Hate flying. It's like one of my least favorite things to do. I tell people all the time, like, why can't I be like afraid of clowns or like the dark or something ridiculous and not flying? I'm in there and I'm like, holding on for dear life.
Have you fought in your life previously?
Yes, all over the world. I lived in Australia for like 3 months. I went to Japan. I've flown all over the place, but every time it like gets worse and worse. I'm like, 4 hours, I'm gonna die.
I mean, coming up, so you got to be careful of what you put in your body. But would you even consider having like a drink to maybe relax you, or
definitely like a Bloody Mary or something? But I mean, with weight cut, now I can't do that.
That was
I just gotta chug water.
Yeah, there you go. What was that weight cut for you to get down to 115? Is it a difficult one, or do you make it pretty easy?
No, it's pretty easy. I mean, I walk around at like between 128 and like 132, maybe. Like I sometimes get to 132, but I maintain between like 128, 130, usually. But like I'm on top of that. Like I think that it's such a professional thing to make weight. It's your job. Your job is to make weight, and your job is to fight. I mean, regardless of whether it's 6 weeks out, 3 weeks out, a week out, it's mental. You have to make that mental switch. Like, okay, I got to make weight. What do I got to do to make the weight? So I've never missed weight. It's for me, it's very professional. You got to make weight, show up, because that's your job. It's your job. You can't show up and give half-ass,
Right.
as a surgeon. So
That's a good point. I wouldn't want my surgeon showing up and giving a half.
yeah, imagine your surgeon's having a bad day that day. It's like, I'll just kind of maneuver some shit and we'll be okay.
So let's just assume that you go in, you get a win, you get a contract, you're in the UFC. What are you going to do moving forward as far as weight classes go? I mean, if you got a short notice fight at 125, would you take that, or are you going to try and just stay with 115 regardless of what the opportunities that may land in your lap?
I think that if the fight was the right fight and my coaches thought it was a good fight, I'd definitely fight at 125. I mean, I'm strong at what I walk around at. I think that I could fight okay at 125. I don't think that those girls are drastically bigger than me. But I mean, if the fight is right and they call, or if it's a last minute fight and, you're going to take what you're going to get. The opportunity is very limited sometimes. So got to take advantage when they're going to call you.
No doubt. Now, you've been fighting for CES, I think the whole part of your professional career now.
Yes, whole pro career.
Right. And, they're a phenomenal, regional promotion. They put on some great shows. I mean, they've been on Fight Pass. I mean, they have a lot of people that are there. The UFC is a little bit of a different animal. I mean, they're the top dog. How do you feel like, your nerves will be come fight night? Do you feel like it will be a little bit different? Or are you, preparing for that? Or do you feel like you've just been long enough now where it's just going to be a piece of cake for you?
I think, it'll be a piece of cake, but it's definitely mental. I mean, I'm going in there to perform and to win, one, and two, to win a contract. I could go in there and have a great fight and win, but maybe not perform that great. Like maybe it's like a lay and pray fight and it's not that exciting. They might say, sorry. But I think, nerves are important. Of course, I'm always nervous regardless of the fight because every fight after that fight is more important. So, I'm not taking advantage of Cheyanne's skills. If she's training half as hard as me or just as hard as me, I'm going to expect the best Cheyanne that's going to come in to fight that night. I'm not going to, think because I've seen other fights that she's been in that's the fighter I'm going to fight. Like I'm not the same fighter that I fought last time I fought. So I'm expecting similar things, but I'm also expecting a completely different fighter from her. So, and she's coming to win. Like we're both coming to win for a contract. So I can't underestimate any sort of her ability or skill. Or my own. I just have to believe in myself and, go out there and do the thing.
Now, historically speaking, Dana's made it very clear on Contender Series. He's looking for people to go out there and get a finish. That's what he wants. Are you going to, I don't know, I guess adjust your game plan or what you would normally do in a fight and really try and go for that? Or are you just going to kind of take it if it comes and just let the cards fall where they may?
Well, with other fights that I've had in the past, like it's not that I'm waiting for it to come. I think I see the openings. So, you know, most of my fights have been finishes as a pro. So when I go out there, I'm definitely going to feel it out and, you know, see what openings are there and hopefully, you know, capitalize on them.
So where do you feel you're going to hold the biggest advantage in this fight? Stylistically, do you feel like you'll be able to impose your will in a certain area against your opponent?
I think that I'm definitely more fast twitch. The thing is, she's very tough. She's not afraid to throw. She knows she's going to go in there and fight and get hit and throw and hit me. So I'm expecting, if it ends up on the ground, that my grappling is going to be much better than hers. I don't know her grappling. I haven't seen much of her grappling, so I don't know that. But grappling is where I love to be. I feel like I can set things up really well, and I can see the openings, and it's all about that connection and friction. They move, you move with them. So I find that if it goes to the ground, maybe I have more of an advantage than she does. But I don't know. You never know. Fight's a fight. Shit can happen.
So give me an official prediction. It sounds like maybe you feel you'll get a submission victory.
Yeah, I think that I could definitely get a submission victory. I think that's what others think too. The thing is, I envision my fights all the time, and I envision, but I can't seem to envision how this fight's going to go. But I can envision my hand being raised. So I can see my hand raised, and I see that all the time. But, you know, she's very skilled. You know, again, like, I'm not going to underestimate her. I know she's going to come to fight, and so am I. So, you know, if the openings are there and I can get on the ground and choke her out, then cool. I'm into that.
Looking forward to this fight. I can't wait. I'm so happy that Contender Series is back. Now, you've let everyone know that is supporting you that they got to go out and get ESPN Plus, right?
Yes, everybody go get ESPN Plus. People ask me all the time, well, what is it? Well, just go to ESPN, go on your computer, download it. It's no big deal. Whatever, you have to pay an $8 fee, maybe. Who cares? You spend $50 on coffee every week.
Yeah, it's $5 a month. People, go get ESPN Plus. It's well worth it, and you're going to get to see Hilarie fight, make her for Contender Series here in 2 short weeks. I really appreciate you taking the time to join me. Before I let you go, anyone you want to thank? Any sponsors you have? Any social media? The floor is yours.
Yeah. You know, shout out to my coaches, Tom and Matt. You know, they've been there for me since day one. Shout out to Ashley and Maddie. Those girls have been whooping my ass for weeks. And I can't wait to go out there and, like, win the thing for them too, because I know they're going to be in there with me. Shane Doherty and Nick, they're huge parts of my camp, keeping me good vibes. You know, not every day is a good day in the gym. Those drastic parts of my camp. And just me as a pro fighter, letting me train there and give me good vibes. Mike Perry, Skill of Strength. I haven't been going there very long, but man, that guy has made me strong in a short period of time. So shout out to him. I have so many other sponsors that know, and Planet Eats, I can't name them all. Eric Peterson, he's always there for me. So you guys all know I love you, and I can't wait to win a contract.